Google's Pixel 6 and 6 Pro are great devices, yet many of us are feeling some of the Pixel lineup growing pains as Google dives into the flagship market this year. For me personally, I'm not a huge fan of the Pixel 6 Pro's curved display. I just prefer flat panels, so I sold my 6 Pro, opting to keep the Pixel 6 instead. I found very little differences between the two Pixel 6 devices in my personal usage. Having a telephoto camera, slightly better speakers, and a slightly brighter display are all nice and all, but for everyday usage at just $599, I'll stick with the Pixel 6, saving $300, recommending most should probably do the same. The new in-screen fingerprint scanner everyone's been talking about is a slower optical sensor in comparison to Samsung's ultrasonic reader, for example. Reminiscent of the first-gen optical sensor on the OnePlus 6T, you need to ensure your fingerprint is thoroughly read when unlocking your device, or the experience is quite frustrating. As you can see, I was able to get this to be a bit smoother of an experience for myself. However, that was not my out-of-the-box experience. I quite hated the experience right out of the box, but I found if I adjust a few settings, the fingerprint scanner becomes a bit more accurate overall. First, I set up multiple fingerprints with the same prints, having 3 prints for my left thumbprint and 3 for my right thumbprint. Then I enabled improved touch sensitivity within the display settings, typically reserved when using a screen protector, which I'm not currently. Enabling developer options, I was also able to enable force peak refresh rate, which forces the display panel to 90 Hz, though through this process, I found the fingerprint scanner to be much more accurate. It still is not the best experience overall. While I appreciate Google trying to stack up to the other flagships, I see no reason why they couldn't have just kept the rear fingerprint scanner. The display on the Pixel 6 is brighter than the Pixels before it, but not as bright as the 6 Pro. The 90 Hz refresh rate, though, is more than enough for me. Even with the minimal bezels, the viewing experience is still quite immersive, and I really enjoy watching content on the Pixel 6. The flat panel design ensures no accidental touches like I experienced on the 6 Pro. The speakers, however, are not nearly as nice on the Pixel 6 as the 6 Pro. They're not terrible, but they're not the best either. Another feature I found myself using a lot lately is the Record app, recording live transcriptions and saving them for notes later, or scripting an entire video like the one you're watching now. The Tensor chip and Google's tech here are unmatched, and I'm quite impressed by how accurate this transcribes, even down to the accurate punctuation. Now for the cameras. The camera setup on the Pixel 6 is pretty solid. Even though the Pixel 6 has an older front-facing camera, the camera setup overall still does a pretty good job. Now, I wasn't as impressed as I hoped for the cameras, but nonetheless, here are some photo samples. I'll let you be the judge and how it performs in the comments down below. battery performance for me is about the same on the Pixel 6 as it was on the 6 Pro, anywhere from 5 to 7 hours screen on time on a busy day, which in return lasted me from the time I awoke to the time I went to bed. Overall, no concerns with the battery performance, but I will note there are many times where the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro get uncomfortably hot to the touch, not just through daily use, but also when charging. I fear there's not much, if anything, for cooling for the Tensor chip, and I'm curious what this does to overall battery degradation long term. However, don't forget to subscribe for my long-term and more detailed review of the Pixel 6 coming in a few months following the latest updates, etc. So while the Pixel 6 isn't the best device, it isn't a bad device. I just think we need to give it more time for Google to hopefully update it, providing many fixes to the initial out-of-the-box woes, and also more time for Tensor to learn our usage, improving over time much like Google Assistant over the years. Not only do I think the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro will get better over the next year, but Pixel 7 and beyond look so promising with Tensor provided Google continues to make great strides in the flagship market. Thank you for watching, take care, and stay safe.